Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sports Debates. I'm Ryan, joined by Emmanuel, and today we are previewing the NFL season, which begins next week on Thursday. The Birds, the reigning champions. A lot of good teams, though. A lot of tight races and divisions and conferences. So we're going to talk about each division. We're going to take a look at how tight everything is, teams that can make some noise, who the best teams are, give our full predictions for how the season's going to go. So there's going to be two videos. This one is going to be the AFC preview, and then we'll have an NFC preview. AFC, the champions last year were once again the Chiefs, but the Eagles exposed them a little bit. And if your teams like the Bills and the Ravens, you saw them get humiliated, and you're chomping at the bit to get back out here and take over the AFC. So let's start in the East, where the Bills are the odds-on favorite in that division and buying away the best team there. 13-4 last year, the only team out of that division to make the playoffs. Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots all finished behind them. Dolphins were 8-9. Jets and Patriots both had under 6 wins. So when you look at this division, it's obviously the Bills. But is there a second team in this division that you think could make their way into the playoffs or at least compete for a spot?
Yeah, my it's a real battle between the Patriots and the Dolphins here, and I'm even excited about the Jets here with the addition of Justin Fields, because even with the Steelers, he was able to bring up them to above 500 for a bit. Actually, I think he might have been undefeated for a while he started, and it was pretty interesting to watch him play. But I think I'm gonna go with the Patriots here, beating out the Dolphins for second place in that division. Tua, I'm not sure if he can stay healthy enough. I'm not sure what's going on in Tyreek Hill, if he can still produce. And, it's a bit of a chaos over there. Dolphins really don't have any cornerbacks. So, yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, I feel like the Dolphins every year, like on paper, they're really good. They've got the weapons. Tua, you got Tyreek Hill, Waddle. Like they've got the star power, but they've never really been able to make some noise. They've gotten the playoffs a few times and then just are out right away. And I feel like this is how I feel about them again this year. Like they could go on a run, they could compete, but I'm keeping my eye on the Patriots, especially because of Drake May. He flew under the radar as a rookie quarterback last year. You know, everyone was watching Daniels and Bo Nix. They had incredible seasons, but Drake May was just kind of playing well. The Patriots were not. They had a really bad losing streak down the stretch. I think they lost like 6 in a row, but he actually played pretty well in a lot of those games. Just looking at his game log, you know, 5 straight games throwing over 200 yards despite those losses. Not too many interceptions. You know, all signs are pointing to he's going to get better. And they got a veteran receiver in Stephon Diggs,
Yeah.
you know, who's definitely not at the level he was, but that's a guy that can mentor him and just be a reliable option downfield as long as he's healthy. I think that the Patriots could sneak into the wild card. I'd be keeping an eye on that. It may be a little tricky with the other teams, but I think that they're the next best team in that division, in my opinion. All right, AFC West. So Chiefs have run that thing for like a decade now. Once again, won it last year. Um, Pulling up the standings, it was the Chargers and the Broncos, both wild card teams out of that division, and then you had the Raiders at the bottom with 4 wins. Chargers are potentially fourth place finishers. I've seen because the Broncos are a very exciting young team. They
Okay.
have what you could say one of the best defenses in the league, plus Bo Nix heading into year two. The Raiders, they've got Gino,
Yep.
and they've got the
Janty.
Ashton Genty as a running back. They had the tight end last year who I'm blanking on, who went
Brock
crazy.
Bowers.
Brock Bowers went crazy last year as a rookie. So
Their
they're
defense.
like exciting, and their defense as well in the Vegas market, like intriguing for sure. And they've got a future Hall of Fame head coach leading the way. So is this a Chiefs division win again, or do you think that another team could potentially win this?
For me personally, I have the Broncos coming out as the division winners for that, or conference winners for that. We just got confirmation that Rashi Rice is going to be out or suspended for 6 games.
Shoot.
So yeah, we saw Patrick Mahomes probably have one of the worst career years in a very long time. Travis Kelsey, we don't know what's going on with that. He didn't look very good last year. Chiefs don't really have weapons. Their old line was a bit bolstered, but like they're not particularly good. Chart and then like if anything, the chart Chiefs are guaranteed not to finish last, but this is no longer their conference to win.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they addressed that O line, like that was desperately needed because that's why they lost the Super Bowl because it wasn't there. Um, I feel like they're one of those teams where even if they don't win the division, like people still going to be scared to face them in the playoffs. I don't think that if they don't win the division, it'll be by like one game. I think like they'll still have a lot of wins. But yeah, I think the Broncos have the best chance. I don't know if they can outlast the Chiefs in the regular season, especially just year two quarterback versus Mahomes. But yeah, that supporting cast around Mahomes, like it's not that intriguing. And you kind of wonder, are they going to need to retool like at a deadline and desperately looking for a wide receiver to bring in? I think they did that a few years ago with like DeAndre Hopkins or something.
Yeah.
Like they always seem to not have enough pieces, but then they go on and win it anyway. I want to talk about the Chargers for a minute because they've been a playoff team the last few years. Justin Herbert is a consensus top 10 quarterback, but the dude just doesn't have many weapons. Lad McConkey's great, but can he be a wide receiver one on a division winning team? Is this a world where the Chargers miss the playoffs this year?
Honestly, it looks like it. We're with the Chargers team makeup right now. They kind of look like I think it was the 2020 Eagles where we went 9-8, and Devontae Smith was our number one wide receiver that year. He can be the number one wide receiver, but the problem is defense will then start to focus on him, and since they have a lack of weapons, they can no longer produce effectively on offense. And the running back committee is not looking so good. Amari and Hampton, I believe, might be able to push out Najee Harris. We don't know what's going on with Najee Harris' eye right now, but yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the Raiders have a better chance of making the playoffs than the Chargers do.
Yeah, what do you think the ceiling for the Raiders is this year with all those new weapons that they've got?
They have a really good defense with Max Crosby. Geno Smith, I think, is going to have a good bounce back year. Brock Bowers out there, linking on Jacoby, not
Jacoby
Jacoby,
Myers?
yeah, Jacoby
Yep.
Myers out there. The two rookie wide receivers, I think, are going to have a good year with them. So, yeah, I think Ashton Jeanty is going to be a huge help as well. Obviously, having a good run game is very important to this. So, yeah, I think they'll borderline be like at least playoff contentions, at least, maybe a wild card, but
Yeah,
any, anything lower than playoff contention is disappointing.
for sure. Okay, the North now. So another division that actually on paper it's always supposed to be competitive. And last year, I think we were hyping it up as a three-team race, and the Ravens kind of ran away with it because the Steelers collapsed and the Bengals didn't have a defense, and then the Browns were just there. So, and that kind of seems like could be the case again this year. The Ravens look great. The Bengals, that offense is amazing, but they didn't really do much to fix that atrocious defense. And the Steelers are settling with Aaron Rodgers, which could go any number of directions. They do have DK Metcalf. The defense has still got some of those guys, but is this is there any world where the Steelers or Bengals can make some noise, or is this another Ravens division win?
This is all but guaranteed a Ravens division win. The Bengals, they drafted Shamar Stewart. Glad they signed him. They brought back Trey Hendrickson, which I'm so glad they finally did. That helps them out a lot, but their defense is still pretty bad. But it would have been way worse without him. But the problem is the Bengals don't really have a good offensive line. So Joe Burrow's going to be out there scrambling for their lives, and they still don't really have like corners out there that could really make me scared. And Steelers are the Steelers, so probably finish above 500, nothing left. And Browns are well, we'll see what Joe Flacco do. It won't be too much, I can promise you that though.
I mean, the thing that I even look at the Steelers, like if Aaron Rodgers doesn't work out or Aaron Rodgers gets injured, like you're stuck. And that could end the season. Like at least last year, you had Russ and Fields, who are both like capable NFL quarterbacks who you would start a playoff game with. Like I don't even is Mason Rudolph still their backup? Like
Well, they drafted Will Howard.
Well,
I
Howard
mean,
too,
he's a
but I
he's a
mean,
rookie, but he was like a sixth round.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
I mean he just won the Natty with Ohio State, but like I don't feel comfortable putting this much dependency on Aaron Rodgers, who's like I don't even know how old he is. And like he played well down the stretch, but that's when the Jets were like eliminated and nothing mattered. And then he decided to lock in. I mean, yeah, and in typical Steelers fashion, they could still finish like 10-7 and get into the wild card. But I think if there's any year that this streak for Mike Tomlin ends with finishing over 500, I think this could be the year that it happens. Probably the worst division in football. Second worst division. Yeah, no, I think it's the worst. The AFC South. So Texans had a good year last year, but they kind of weren't as dangerous as they were in Stroud's rookie season, but they won it by default, going 10-7, because the Colts, Jaguars, and Titans were all under 500. Jaguars and Titans were one of the two worst teams in the league.
Mm,
Um, so this is obviously another Texans division. The next best team, I think, is the Colts still. They're going with
no,
no.
they
Okay.
no. I have the next best team being the Titans. The Colts,
The Titans.
their
Okay.
their quarterback room is a mess. The Daniel Jones being the starter, not a good idea.
You don't trust
Uh,
Danny Dimes?
I do not trust Danny Dimes. The good thing is, I'm glad Anthony Richardson is sitting down. I hope he develops more. He's 23.
Yeah.
He's still young. He still has potential, but he has to develop as a quarterback. Right now, he's basically a glorified running back. He's able to make plays with his legs, and he has the ability to throw the ball far downfield, but the accuracy needs to be better. And there's a lot of problems there. But I have the Titans there. I'm trusting Cam Ward and the Jaguars due to them firing their head coach, I believe Doug Peterson at the time, and also just not really having a lot of weapons out there. I'm excited to see Travis Hunter, see how he plays both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not really optimistic about the Jaguars, and I'm not optimistic about the Colts.
So looking at a Texans team, CJ Stroud, kind of a sophomore slump for him. But if this guy looks more like his rookie season self, which I think he should, because he honestly wasn't even that bad last year. He just, I think his offensive line wasn't that great.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Wide receivers
So
were hurt.
yeah,
Offensive coach
just it
wasn't that
wasn't
good.
going well for him.
Yeah,
So if things are going well for the rest of the team and he's performing closer to his rookie season level or even better, can the Texans be a threat in the AFC as a whole alongside the Ravens, Bills, and Chiefs?
absolutely. If the Texans everything goes good for them, I got them as a contender,
Yeah.
a Super Bowl contender. That's how I think their ceiling is.
Going off that, who are your Super Bowl contenders in the AFC?
Obviously, I got Bills, Ravens, Broncos, Texans. I don't have the Bengals because of their horrible defense and all bad O line. I don't have the Chiefs because their O line is still not that great and their defense still questionable. The wide receiver core questionable. But that's it. I got those four teams out of the West.
Interesting. No Chiefs.
No Chiefs. I think this is going to be one of the years where we don't even see the Chiefs make the playoff spot potentially.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's look at our like official predictions now for the playoff teams in the AFC. So I've got Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Texans winning their divisions. I think the Chiefs still hang on just with their regular season voodoo magic. I think it'll come down to like one game between them and the Broncos. And I think
Mm,
they'll hold off. But I have the Broncos, the Patriots, and the Bengals as the three wild card teams. How about you?
mm. So I have the Bills winning, or Bills. So Bills, Broncos, Ravens, Texans. I unfortunately do have the Chiefs because you did mention the Black Magic, and I think that will come into play. I have the Patriots as well, and the Bengals, and I have Ravens winning the conference as a whole, or
Ravens
being
win
the
the conference. I got the
as
Bills. Bills over Ravens.
ooh,
I think this is Josh Allen's year.
could be.
All right, one last thing. The AFC. Give me this is kind of spot, putting you on the spot here. Give me a dark horse MVP candidate in the AFC. So not like, I'd say the favorites are, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, the obvious answers, but a dark horse
A,
MVP candidate.
a dark. Texans CJ Stroud has to be CJ
Yeah,
Stroud out there. There's a lot of rookie quarterbacks, and I would doubt they win MVP in their like first year or second year. So I'm not like
yeah,
obviously not rookies, but like sophomores, rookies, and sophomores. But definitely has to be CJ Stroud.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if this guy's a dark horse because he was in the conversation a few years ago, but I think if the Bengals can win a few more games to get into the playoffs and Burrow has another season where he's throwing like 5,000 yards, I think
Yeah,
that's enough to get him an MVP. Especially, I mean, he could single-handedly drag them into the playoffs.
yeah, yeah. That's a good point there. I kind of forgot about Joe Burrow there, which is shame on me, of course. But
So did the defense.
yeah, but we'll see. I hope so.
All right, and then next up, we'll cover the NFC.